Welcome to another edition of Doctor to Doctor in the Chat Room, D2D. We are glad to have you guys here today for our Guy Talk show. I have 5 very handsome and capable men with me today, and they are going to be telling you a little bit about who they are. I want to say a belated Merry Christmas to everyone listening in. I hope that you had a great holiday season. So let's kind of jump in, guys. Just go around and talk about, just tell us your name and your status, who you are. Start over here, Mr. Joaquin.
Stephen Joaquin, married 4 years now, going on 5. We're looking for forever.
Awesome.
All right. Cousin Nick with Rossetti Visuals. I am single, but my heart is for someone, and we're just trying to wait until it's the right time. We do have a child together, a lovely, lovely, beautiful baby boy, and I couldn't be any happier. But as life goes on, you just learn different lessons.
My name is Obi Beard. I live in Jackson, Tennessee, and I have a friend.
I'm Coach Shaw, respectively known as Coach Shaw. James Shaw. I am a divorcee who is wondering if there are women left in America that I could possibly date.
Wow, I follow that.
This is so good to me.
I'm Leon Gray. I am the father of 4 adult boys by 2 different women, neither of whom is my wife at this time.
And I am Dr. Rhonda Shaw, and we're going to jump right into this discussion. So one of the things that, when we had the Girl Talk show, one of the things that we talked about was soulmates. Everybody talks about soulmates, and that's what they're looking for as it relates to having a long-term relationship. I want you guys to just tell me how you view the whole idea of a soulmate.
Okay, I'll start. For most men, and men of a certain age, I believe that women spend a lot more time thinking about the romanticism that makes for relationships than men do. I think that women read a lot more, and therefore terms like soulmate becomes part of their lexicon, where with men, we learn about a soulmate in the process. So while women are all talking about looking for a soulmate, until we actually have processed that by being a part of being a soulmate and having a soulmate, we don't so much know what that is.
Okay.
I'll take my turn. I don't know that the term soulmate is the proper term to use. It appears to me, and maybe that's why I'm divorced, that people want you to give them your soul. And I always thought my soul belonged to God now, but my heart is a different story. So trying to balance that, to get a clear understanding about what they mean when they say soulmate. Does that mean we are chained together? Does that mean we are understanding one another? What in the heck is really coming through their mind when they say, well, I think you are my soulmate?
Okay.
I would say a soulmate would have to be the one that you choose to marry. I mean, and you know it, and she's going to know it. You know, you're not going to have to really think about it that much. You're going to think about it some, but you're going to know when you have the right one.
So are you saying to you it's more like this gut feeling that you have about someone, like everything, all the characteristics that they conveyed in the relationship that say to you they're the one, and therefore you're a soulmate?
Yes.
Okay.
And it takes time to get to know that person, to know that she's the one or he's the one.
To kind of put everybody's answer into mine, I feel like when it comes down to a soulmate is the one that you choose to take this journey with life is hard, and if you find somebody that genuinely understands the same thing, going forward, like my brother said, is somebody that you want to take the time out to get to know in this journey, because you're not going to find out about that person right then and there. It's going to take time. And so if you want to, hey, well, if you want to do this together, then I'm all for it, but you have to be on the same page.
Okay, very good point. So you talked about time. It takes time. Both of you talked about it takes time. And just from a female perspective, you know, when we hear a guy say,
Time.
you know, time,
It's
it
a
takes
feel.
time.
It's a feel for us.
It's a feel for you.
There's nothing concrete. There's no number to it. There's no association. Time for someone is 3 months. It's 3 years. It's a feel.
It's a feel.
It's a
It's
feel.
not a measurement. It's a feel.
It's just
Very
at some
good.
point in time for a guy, he's just gonna feel like, yeah, this is it.
This is it. Yes,
You
There's
guys
sir.
agree?
there's 2 weeks, there's 2 months, there's 2 years. There's no number to it though.
I see one face in here that doesn't seem to be necessary.
Well, I don't disagree with that. But I do believe that the whole thing starts with an attraction. And there's no time limit on when you're attracted to someone. So when the attraction starts, then the interest should follow. And for us, how quickly can I let you know that I'm attracted to you without you feeling like I went too fast
Right. Jump.
or I went too slow?
You do have to take that into consideration.
There's a
Yes,
happy
sir.
medium every time you approach what you're trying to do,
Uh-huh.
but you just can't rush it. And you can't go too slow. Y'all lose interest. And if we go too fast, you lose interest again.
Yeah.
So it's almost, where's our happy medium at?
Okay. So when I'm just kind of referencing the girl talk show, we talked about Mr. Tory Roberts, who has written a lot of material about relationships, and he talked about these particular ingredients that were involved in recognizing your soulmate. And he started with Psalms 1:1, and I just want to read the NIV version of Psalms 1:1. It says, "Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers." He used this verse to gain leverage to how you align yourselves with others, and he said that basically that's the key. How you can align yourselves with others is kind of that foundation in terms of how you build upon a relationship. So these 5 key ingredients are, number 1, chemistry, and then he talks about a connection. And I want to stop there because he says don't confuse chemistry with connection, because you can be connected with someone based on things that you have in common, for instance, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have chemistry with them. Can you guys just explore the whole idea of chemistry and connection, and not necessarily one versus the other, but just how you see them?
Well, first of all, he married T.D. Jake's daughter. So I'm questionable on his chemistry right there. He left a woman that he had 3 kids by. You know, so let's get this on the record about who this brother is.
Okay.
You know, now I'm not knocking him for anything. I'm married twice and still don't have a wife, so
Yeah.
I'm not knocking him for any of that. But I am always careful from where the advice comes.
I fully
I am
agree.
always careful about whether
Everyone's
whether
perspective isn't the same.
don't ask me to see the world through your eyes, but I will allow you the opportunity to have the world that you see. That's how I live. That's how I live. So chemistry, and what was that other word?
Connection.
Connection. Connection is a part of attraction. There's a second part of attraction for a man, and you guys will bear me out on this. When we see a woman that we're attracted to, pretty much the first option we got is to look at her And if we're not afraid, and that takes some practice, then we wait and see if she looks back at us.
You're right, boss.
And if that happens in a measurable amount of time, then the expression on the face when you look back at me tells me whether or not we have a connection.
Okay.
Now, some men won't leave it there. Some men will try and force a connection. And then back to timing. We were talking about timing earlier. Some men will try and force a connection. When you try and force a connection, or when you try and force anything,
Yeah.
then it gets out of balance because nature moves in its own time. So a connection could not be there then. I mean, a connection could not be there then, but there may be some chemistry. If there's chemistry, then the timing may have been off, but later on in the
Okay.
passing of the calendar, you may see that person or hear from that person again through a friend or whatever. Let me say something about male friends versus female friends. If you tell a male friend who may know somebody you're attracted to pass a message to you, a male friend, and you're a man, be careful about that one. But if you tell a female friend that if a woman tells a female friend to pass a message for her, I think that is more succinctly done because it's more often done. Men, we're not just really used to doing that.
Yeah.
We're quick to say that's not our place.
That's not our problem.
If you want to go get her.
Okay.
That's the first thing I'm gonna tell my buddy. Hey, go get her. If you want her, go get her.
Okay.
So, how much can I say without getting in trouble? Because for most guys, the reason there's chemistry is once we intertwine, our connection happens based on how we performed when we intertwined. Men, and I can't say all men, maybe they're not like me, but men have the tendency to connect with how well things went in the bedroom more so than taking the time to really know the woman. And before you know it, you are drawn to her, not her character, because you don't really take the time to find her character if you can move to the other level. So what happens, I think we don't get a chance to build chemistry, and then I don't know many men who have sat down with another man and say, look, tell me what really makes a good woman. We pick based on our eyes.
Visual.
We are very visual. And if she walks a certain way, or looks a certain way, we think we can fix everything else because we the man.
Right.
I think that's human nature, though.
I do.
I think, yeah,
But it gets us in trouble
Yeah, it
because
makes sense.
once we find out she don't clean up, you know what, this, it's a whole different story. And then you hear all this term about, well, I told you to do this, and you haven't done this yet.
So for the lack of a better phrase, would you say that for a man things kind of happen out of order? Not to say that how women approach things is the order, but I mean out of order.
But to say that anyway.
But out of order in the sense that you're saying you can't even begin to focus on the character piece until the other.
Well, I say that because that's normally what we do. Now, is that the right order? I agree with you. It is not the right order. But because of human nature, how we're made, and I used to wonder, they used to tell me, well, why do men look at women's butts when they go by? I don't care what man it is, he's going to take him a look. He may quickly turn back depending on who he with. But that is out of order for getting to know someone.
Because see, when we talk with the ladies, we talked about these 5 characteristics or ingredients, and it was clear that they didn't necessarily happen in a particular order with women. I mean, there was somebody at the table that did not have chemistry at the beginning, right? But that person is now in a 16-year marriage, with someone, but they eventually, got to that point, but it was someone that
I've always said when people start to get too much information, stuff happens. It is,
Expound on that.
well, you think about it. In the olden days, people stayed together because they didn't have information.
True.
Now you get all this information, and whether it's true or not, it starts to mess with your head. It's like when we used to watch soap operas.
Right.
It
That
would
is
mess.
a very good
information
point.
is-
No, they got this. No. They got the same information about the other woman on the other side of town with the 3 kids, just like we were living. They got the information.
At the funeral, though.
No, they ignored the
Okay.
information because the commitment at the time was bigger than the information at the time.
Okay.
See, the people of a certain age believe that what you act like you don't know won't hurt you. Not what you don't know won't hurt. What you act like you don't know won't hurt you, because you don't have to deal with it as long as you are dismissing it.
Okay.
But we're talking a lot about terminology, and unless there are concrete, and I'm an English major, unless there are concrete definitions on what the words actually mean that everybody actually get, then what are we talking about? So
Okay.
when you bring up the word chemistry, if you can't define that to me,
don't know it.
then my definition and your definition may be
Totally
different.
I like
It would be
It's all-
subjective,
it all
I
be
agree.
subjective.
So guys, hold that thought, and we're gonna go to a break. And we're gonna pick up where we left off when we come back. We are hanging out at Mr. P's
Yes, sir.
on Hacks
P's.
Cross in the beautiful city of Memphis, and we'll be right back on 94.7 FM.
Oh no, we don't.